Hi guys, welcome to Medieval Snails. I'm your host Frank. Welcome to my first vlog. This tie didn't work. I could not figure it out in time, so we ball with the clone. But I did make this video for a reason, and it's because I have a problem. I buy way more books than I actually read, and I feel like I'm a huge book poser. So in order to remedy that, the last couple weeks or so, I've been actually reading this book here. It really got me thinking about my book collection. I'm sure plenty of you guys have a whole library of books that you haven't read, and I want to go ahead and use this channel as a way to force myself to actually use the stuff I buy. So let's just hop into it. I also promise you I just showered. My grease could not be contained earlier, so we'll have to rock with the wet hair. So, come here, Cindy. Sit. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Sit. So, as you guys can see, this is just one of my piles of shame. I have a second one in my room that I'm not going to show you as of right now because my room is not meant to be recorded in. This is one of my bookshelves. I've read maybe this book, and I have not read any of these, none of these, and I've read only these three guys right here. So, what I'm gonna do is pick one out at random and force myself to read it and give you guys a report chapter by chapter, and we'll see how this goes. So I'll go ahead and set up that montage now. What are you doing, mister? Okay. You want to hang out? Come on. Thank you. All right. So for the first episode of Medieval Snails, I will be reading One Piece. I have virtually no idea what One Piece is about. I know it's about pirates. They're chasing a MacGuffin called the One Piece. And I have a sneaking suspicion that it's going to be very, childish. However, it may be entertaining. So we'll go ahead and read this first novel and I'll see how I like it. And before I start, I just want to thank today's sponsor, myself, because I think I'm cool and deserve to read books. So let's go ahead and read this story by Eiichiro Oda. Cool. Hi. So far, I'm on page 13, and I can already tell you the purpose of the main character's story is to eventually become a pirate. Obviously, there's more books with him actually succeeding in being a pirate in the future. I'm not ignorant about that, so pretty obvious that was going to be the case. I do like that the pirates seem to be having a lot of fun in their adventures. They're not like mean and gruff, and I feel like that juxtaposes Western pirates a lot. Some of them claim that they have the ultimate freedom, they get to explore lots of land, and Luffy is unable to join them on their adventures because he can't swim. And I think that's pretty interesting because these pirates are obviously going to be at seas for a while, and yeah. Oh, the joke that landed with me. Captain Shanks offers Luffy a glass of milk, and Luffy chugs it immediately. And then he bursts out laughing, saying that real pirates would never drink milk, which is a fun little, like, goofy ass joke. I feel like it's super practical and well written. It's not like one of those generic anime moments where the joke is like sexual harassment. It's like an actual joke. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and just keep reading this and see how I feel about it. Awesome. So, I just finished chapter 1, and let me tell you, that was super captivating. I was not expecting to like this as much as I did because it's so, like, overhyped in popular media. I feel like the more things are like, the more people tell you to watch something, the less willing you are to actually watch it because it gets kind of annoying after a while. And that's always been the case with me in One Piece. But wow, I just read the first chapter, and I have some notes that I jotted down to kind of help me analyze this for later. But yeah, chapter 1 was awesome. There's like, as of right now, maybe 4 main protagonists. We have Luffy, Shanks, this guy named Mr. First Mate, who juxtaposes Shanks very well. He's much more real with Luffy, which I appreciate. In the fact that he's very real with Luffy and doesn't shy away from telling him the grim realities of being a pirate. Shanks just tells Luffy he doesn't want to be a pirate because he can't swim, which is our character's main weakness right now. And to add on to that, later, Mr. First Mate tells Luffy that he doesn't want to be a pirate because he can't swim, along with the heavy drinking associated with being a pirate, the pillaging, and the hostage taking. And I really appreciate that about him. It looks like this is a cool little dynamic. Oh, and the fourth main character, I should say, is the antagonist so far. His name is, well, I'm gonna be real with you. He's not that big of an antagonist. He was killed within the first... Spoiler alert, he was killed within the first chapter, so it's not really a spoiler. His name was like Higame or something. Hold on. Higuma the Bear. Higuma the Bear is an interesting villain. He's stereotypically like mustache twirling almost. He's not a threat that I personally thought was very antagonistic. I knew he was probably just the introduction villain, like a tutorial level from a game. And they dealt with him swiftly by having nature take its course and having a fish eat him. And I thought that was kind of an interesting way to deal with your first antagonist. But what played out afterward was really great. After Higuma the Bear was killed, we realized that Shanks saves Luffy in the process of Higuma being killed. And he actually loses his arm. And this is when Luffy sort of realizes the foolishness of his like little boy mind, where he thinks that being a man is being someone who can defend themselves, where he's now taught this valuable lesson that being a man is actually being able to defend other people. And it's not looking out for yourself, it's looking out for others. And that's a super cool way for him to learn that lesson. I actually really appreciated the time skip that they did, because this shows you that this is how he's been thinking for the past 10 years. Yeah, they introduced a time skip at the end of chapter 1. But yeah, super cool. Luffy is so far likable. I didn't expect for me to immediately like him, but he's a little boy who acts like a little boy, so like obviously he's not flawed in any way that I find annoying. But it's really cool to see that time skip and him kind of hold on to his vows of becoming a pirate at some point. And yeah, chapter 1 was a banger. I'm going to go ahead and finish chapter 2. I don't know how many chapters are in the first novel, so I assume... Yeah, I don't know how many chapters are on this guy, so I'm going to keep reading. So far, I really dig it, and I'll see you guys at the end of chapter 2. All right. Chapter 2 was much shorter length than chapter 1, I would say. Or at least it felt like that because there wasn't as much exposition that the book wanted to give the reader. So here we're introduced to 2 new characters, a little boy named Kobe and a pirate boss named Alvida, Iron Mace Alvida. She, much like the first antagonist, was a tutorial level boss for sure. She didn't really seem imposing, and I'm wondering if One Piece is going to continue this train of having a villain of the week type ordeal, where it switches out antagonists and none of them really have a substantial say in the story. That's what it's looking like right now. Kobe, he's fine. He's a fine character. He's just kind of like a little boy who's kind of scared of everything. And he's a nice counter to Luffy in the fact that this boy wants to join the Navy and Luffy wants to become King of the Pirates. And the boy even mentions that if he becomes King of the Pirates, he will have to hunt him down while he's in the Navy. And the only reason that he wants to join the Navy is because Luffy helped him find the courage to break his kind of stranglehold that the Lady Alvida pirate woman put on him. Iron Mace Alvida, the pirate lady. I think that was her full name. It was really a bitch to read. It was a long title and it kept confusing me. But chapter 2 was all right. Chapter 1 was definitely a lot better executed. But yeah, I'm on chapter 3 and I'll go ahead and catch up with you guys then. Let me go ahead and reposition you. Okay, cool. One more thing I forgot to mention. So Luffy's new goal in this is to find someone named Zolo, like Rorodondo Zolo or some shit like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and read chapter 3. I just want to give an update as to where the book is going. They're gonna find a new pirate. So I just finished reading chapter 3. It was a lot shorter than chapter 2, which was much shorter than chapter 1, it felt like. Chapter 3, we're introduced to 2 new characters, those being Zolo and Helmeppo. Helmeppo is the fail son of a rich naval guy, and obviously that means Luffy's gonna antagonize him at some point, considering that he identifies as a pirate. And I'm assuming in this series, pirates and Navy people are like Team Red and Team Blue. I assume there's gonna be a lot of antagonism on both sides. But yeah, so we're introduced to Helmeppo, Fail-san, and Zolo, who had a cute moment. He actually ate food. This was kind of weird. He was introduced to us as this guy who's like a demon in the form of a man, so he's intimidating. And then a child goes up to him while he's like being crucified and tries feeding him rice balls. He initially like denies the rice balls, only for Luffy to sneak in and then feed him the exact same rice balls later in the chapter. So I'm not sure what he was going for. I don't know what the moral of him like not accepting it when the small child offering him the rice balls was, but kind of interesting. Kind of a weird chapter, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, chapter 4, here we go. super interesting character design with Naval Captain Axehand Morgan. I think my dog just farted. Very interesting character design. It looks like his forearm has been amputated and replaced with an axe head. And for some reason, he's got a mean splinter going down the center. So there's some body horror going on, which I low-key appreciate. Certainly some interesting character designs in this book. We had that character, Lady Alvida, who kind of looked like Johnny Elbows. So we'll see. Dig in the designs for sure. Okay, cool. So the Navy guys, it appears that they're just as fucked up as the pirates are, if not more so. But it looks like we're set an example of what the Navy is like in this book, and they are just monsters. We have this new character, the father of the Fail Son, Axehand Morgan. I don't know how I forgot that one. Is literally got an axe for a hand. But yeah, Axehand Morgan, definitely an interesting character. He's having someone kill a child because he disobeyed his orders. And then when that guy rationally said, "I'm not killing that girl," he kills him. So it's pretty obvious that they're setting the precedent that the Navy are not the good guys, which is pretty based, and I agree with. So yeah, just a little side note. Okay. Chapter 4 was also pretty short. I'm surprised by how quickly I'm going through these. Not to kiss my own ass, but it's just very short. I'm not fast at reading. I'm actually really a slow reader, which is why I'm reading manga right now and not an actual book. But yeah, in chapter 4, we're introduced to Axehand Morgan. He's a bit of a dick. He likes killing kids, apparently. We get Kobe coming back to try to save Zolo, who's currently held up in a prison. And it just sort of ends on a cliffhanger, so I'm going to finish that cliffhanger. That is so foul. Okay, so because Luffy is made out of rubber, when he gets shot at, you can just take those little rubber pellets, stretch them through his skin, and shoot them back. That is horrific body horror, but in a very fun, cartoonish way. Very interesting. Awesome. I'm on chapter 6 now. Really picked up in quality, I would say. The former chapters were a little less exciting. This one is really good. We get a bit of backstory with Zolo. He's wanting to become the greatest swordsman in the world, which is obviously a very Shonen Jump thing to say. You know, it's like Naruto, I want to be president of the Hokage. It's like Naruto where he's like, oh, I want to be the Hokage, you know, ninja president. Or Goku, I want to be the strongest in the universe. It's the exact same stereotypical Shonen Jump kind of motive. And they do show a flashback of him training with like a girlfriend that he used to have. Not a girlfriend as in a romantic girlfriend, but a girlfriend as in a girl friend, a friend who's a girl. And there's a cute little scene of them practicing, Zolo getting his ass kicked for 2001 times. And he promises this girl that one day either one of them will be the greatest swordsman. She passes away in the flashback and cuts to present time where Zolo is saying he cannot die at this moment. So he chooses to accept Luffy's offer of becoming a pirate. On to chapter 6. I think there has to be like 10 chapters. I don't know. Let's look it up. 8 chapters. Okay. So it looks like I'm almost done with the book. There's around 8 chapters. I'm on chapter 6 right now. So far I'm enjoying it. Yeah, we'll keep going. All right, so I have just finished chapter 6. I'm on the new chapter, chapter 7, Friends. This chapter, I'm recording on my iPhone because my battery died on my camera. But, we're resolving that. Right there. Okay, so I really like chapter 6. It was the action sequence chapter. A lot of fighting, a lot of cool choreography. Zolo's definitely badass. I do like how he fights off multiple enemies with his 3 swords. So yeah, pretty cool. On to chapter 7. So, I have just finished volume 1 of One Piece. And it was a blast, I'm not gonna lie. I expected it to be a lot worse. I don't know why. In terms of like shonen, I always kind of think that all the material is kind of mid at some point. I really liked the characters. I thought Luffy was not stagnant, which surprised me because I've just heard that he never changes as a character. But if his character is always moving forward, then that not changing isn't a bad thing. He's always progressing the narrative some way or another, where he's recruiting new pirates for him to join the gang. And let's go ahead and talk about some of the other Let's talk about some of the other characters. Luffy was great. Zolo was very cool. We're introduced to him by Luffy coming aboard this new island held by the Navy. And Zolo is actually held prisoner in one of those. And yeah, there he's being like crucified like Jesus Christ on the cross, which is pretty funny. He's been starving for a couple days. Luffy comes, hey, be part of my crew. Guy says, fuck that. And then the antagonists, Iron Hand something or other. Axe Hand Morgan, that's his name. Axe Hand Morgan's like one of these big honchos of the Navy who's like making sure this execution's being carried out for Zolo. Luffy saves Zolo. Zolo and him become BFFs. They go and become a part of a pirate crew. So Luffy now has his first crew member. And honestly, I think it's pretty appropriate. I know he gets a bigger cast at some point. He has like Nami and then this other guy with a long nose. And Zolo being the first one to join the group kind of makes sense because he's gonna need a lot of firepower behind his crew, considering it's only 2 homies. And if they want to make it to the Grand Line, which is where they want to go to collect the One Piece, they're gonna need a badass crew. And yeah, I'm super hyped. I can already tell by the omnibus cover, we're going to be introduced to Buggy the Clown, who was a name that was tossed around a lot in this volume. Nothing really, it's all exposition. This first volume is totally all exposition. A lot of villains get rotated. I think in 9 chapters, we go through 3 different villains. The douchebag who spilled a beer all over what's his name? Shanks. Okay, so we have that one guy, Hajigami the bear or something or other, who's a douchebag to Shanks. He gets dealt with in the same chapter. Then we had Iron Mace Alvida, the lady pirate. I think that's her full title. She was a super throwaway character. I really liked her design though, so I hope she comes back in one form or another. And then we had Axe Hand. Oh, shoot, I just said his name. Homie with the axe hand. I thought he was gonna have a lot more presence, but he was dealt with very swiftly as well. So I don't know. Volume 1, tons of exposition, a little bit of foreshadowing. Very enjoyable to read, a lot of fun character designs, and I think I will be continuing this series to at least volume 2. As for a Frank score, so the art was very awesome. I really liked a lot of these panels. I thought at first it was gonna be way too cluttered, much like is the case in Dragon Ball Super, at least the early manga of it. But it's tastefully cluttered. When it wants to be cluttered, it will be cluttered, so you have a nice depth of field in terms of like detail and the environments. When it wants to have limited backgrounds, it does so in a tasteful manner where it's not like forgotten about in some cases with other manga. So the art is great. I don't know, arbitrary Frank score, 8 out of 10. The art is super, super spectacular. All the character designs are super fun. I love the silhouettes he gives them. Some of these guys are built like barrels and it shows. As for narrative, it is fairly predictable. So, but you know, it's a shonen, so it's hard. But again, you have to balance out predictability with the shonen aspect. It is meant to be very digestive, or it's meant to be digested on a weekly basis, I guess. So the narrative has to be simple in order for people to follow along with it. I like the narrative. I would give it probably like a 7 out of 10, I guess. Maybe a 6 out of 10 if I'm feeling grumpy. But again, it's the first volume. Of course, I don't expect it to be a masterpiece. And then just the vibe, I guess, will be the third thing we're ranking this on. I'm literally making this up as we at this segment. So we're going off of art style, narrative, and vibe. Vibes are present. Pirate booty is bountiful. Homies are dressed up with cutlasses on their fucking waists. It's a vibe. Very enjoyable. Kid friendly as heck. I don't think that's interesting. No, I don't think that matters. It's just interesting how like almost self-aware it is of like holding back its violence. So there you go. Super cartoony, enjoyable. What's the vibe out of 10? Immaculate vibes. I'm gonna have to give it probably an 8 out of 10 on the vibes. Yeah, so an average of, I don't know, 7.6, I guess, on the Frank scale. It seems kind of high in retrospect, thinking about it right now, but fuck it, we ball. I'm gonna give volume 1 a 7.6 out of 10. I actually really did enjoy this. And yeah, I guess thanks for watching my video. That was it. That was my review on the first volume of One Piece. Thank you.